MorrowInvest.com. I want to bring you a little bit of information today. We're going to go over some things here at the kitchen table. I want to start doing a couple of these. I'm sorry for the little blue square. I can't figure out how to get that thing to go away. My GoPro decided to die today, so I'll be having to get a new GoPro to get that fixed. I wanted to go over a couple of things that you guys as investors have been asking about. I've been getting questions about these things, so I wanted to go over a few things. So, Trump is our new president, and whether you like or disagree with the things that he says or does, he is our new president. So that's something that we will navigate no matter, especially if you're going to be an investor for a long-term period. You're going to have bull markets and bear markets. You're going to have ups and downs, different presidents, conservative leaders, liberal leaders. So those are just things that you're going to have to adapt to as a investor. And so I would tell you that a good investor makes money anytime. You know, you hear some people like, well, I'm just going to stick my money under the mattress, or I'm just going to stick my money somewhere and wait until this presidency is over. That's not a good way to invest. You know, you're working on an average here. So if you make nothing for 5 years and then you do really great for the next 5 years after that, you still have to average it out, right? So you're really not making that great. It would be it'd be much better for you to learn to navigate through these things, because if you're very narrowly focused, and because I have people ask, what should I invest in? And if you're narrowly focused on what you're investing in, then you're not going to be able to get all the highs and lows. Meaning that, say you only do stocks. You only do stocks in your 401k. Well, if you just have one of your automated plans where you're like, I want, growth stock mutual funds, and that's what you click, or you're like, I want my money safe, it's going to be only in money market and bonds, and you could click, and that's all you do. You never change it as the market changes, and you're just stuck into that. We call that in the investment world dollar cost averaging. Over X amount of period of time, you will on average make so much return. Well, that's great, but we're not doing that. Okay, we're doing investments. I tell people all the time that I'm not in love with real estate. I just love what real estate does for me. But if tomorrow they decided to change all the rules, change the tax breaks, all that kind of stuff, and real estate was no longer making me the returns that I wanted to make, I wouldn't be in real estate anymore. If the next thing was being a goat herder or a grasshopper farmer, that's what I would talk about, because that's where the money would be. So depending on the market, depends on what you invest in, obviously. Okay, so the investments are going to constantly change. Let me click over here just to tell you. You can see here Trump has signed that the Keystone Dakota Pipeline is going to be opened back up. Again, whether you agree with this or not, it's happening. So that's going on, and there's a lot of other things. He's very pro-jobs. And that's what he's kind of based his presidency on, and so he's already making movements to do that. Now, again, no matter what you think one way or the other, it's happening. So the Keystone Pipeline will create at least 28,000 new jobs, and then those jobs trickle out. As those workers need lunch, they then go to a restaurant and they pay their money to the restaurant, and the restaurant says thank you, and then that restaurant takes that money, and not only do they pay tax off of that money for sales tax and things, they then pay their servers, and their servers go home and they go to Walmart and they buy a gallon of milk, and they pay tax on the milk. And so you get some more taxes, and then they take that milk home, right? There's a process, and all these people get blessed, so they buy that milk. Well, the dairy farmer says, hey, we need more milk, so the dairy farmer has to produce. Walmart wants them to produce more milk, so they produce more milk. So they're like, hey, we need more cows, so they got to buy more cows, right? So there's a process that when there are these bubbles that are created where there's new jobs, it goes into a lot of different industries, not just the specific industry. Just because we're just talking about the Keystone Pipeline, and I went off and I'm talking about a dairy farmer. Well, that's because the dairy farmer is affected. So that's how investments work. If you say, I bought this pen right here, well, there's a lot of manufacturing that goes into building the equipment that builds the pens. The iron ore and the steel that was created from the dirt and raw land to make the steel that then made the factory, that then made the robotics, that then made this pen, right? So there's this long list of things that go into that. I'm going to be kind of shooting around here today a little bit, but I just want to do these kind of updates on at my kitchen table, like we were sitting here as friends discussing. Just things that I think that a lot of people don't get to think about as they go through their daily jobs. All right, so another one is taxes. I had a friend last week tell me that they didn't understand why their tax broker, their tax preparer, was not helping them get more taxes, more discounts, more tax write-offs. Well, the reality is that guy is probably not paid to do that. See, there's a difference. So you might have a guy or a gal that has a tax preparing business, but they are not proactive in trying to reduce your taxes. Most of those people, and I say most, what they are actually doing is they're really more of a bookkeeper. You told them these were my expenses, this was my income, and they go to your tax sheet and they just put it in. They say, oh, this is how much they paid for expenses. This is how much they said they brought in. Print, and that does their taxes. All they're doing is filing it electronically with TurboTax or something. You know, they're not actively saying, how can I save taxes for Mr. Jones, right? That's not what their goal is. Now, a lot of people are like, well, I got my taxes done for $50. I got my taxes done for $75. If you are genuinely trying to run a business and you're genuinely trying to make a lot of money, specifically, you want to pay for somebody that is going to prepare your taxes. So my taxes cost me more and more money every single year because I'm involved in different real estate deals and different businesses. And so I have a complicated set of tax returns, and it gets more and more complicated each year. And I am more than happy, and you should be too, more than happy to pay $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 for my taxes to be done. Why? Because they save me thousands. I talk to people on a daily basis that pay $30,000 and $40,000, $50,000 of their personal income to taxes when they don't have to. Now, I'm not saying don't be a good steward. I'm not saying don't give to Caesar what is Caesar. I'm not saying that. If you look at my video on tax avoidance and tax evasion, I'm just saying that it is your legal right as a U.S. citizen to try to minimize the amount and impact of your taxes. Okay? Can you decide to go to a different county that has a lower sales tax? Sure. Could you decide to move to Florida or Texas where they have no state income tax? Sure. Is it okay for a municipality that's trying to get a factory or some company that's going to bring jobs to the area? Can they give them a tax break on the real estate or yes, absolutely they can. So it is your legal right. It is not illegal to try to maximize your tax benefits. Okay. And so this person also told me that their tax person told them that they couldn't write their vehicle off. Now, this is the only vehicle they drive, and it's used about half the time for their business. I told her she needed to get a different tax person immediately, okay, because you can. If you go, and I just posted this on my page the other day, but you can go, my hair is going crazy, I need a haircut. And I'm white. It is, I need sunshine. It's winter. We need some sun. Anyway, so you're going to have, as a corporation or an LLC being taxed as a corporation, you can literally write off everything. And I say everything. I don't really mean everything, but you can write off a ton of stuff. Okay, so the difference is here we do as individuals. Individuals say, here's my income, and we're just going to say $100,000. So I made $100,000. Bam, I paid taxes, so 25-30% of that's gone. I've got $70,000 left, and out of that $70,000, I now then have to pay my health insurance, my house, my car, my cell phone, blah, 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 all the way down. That's not what businesses do. If you are a business, please pay attention to this. If you are a business, you get to use the entire amount first, and you pay the government on what is left. So you should be taking that $100,000 worth of sales you made and first paying your vehicle, paying a portion of your home office. If you have, say you have a home office that you say is a 10 by 10 room, and it makes up, just for easy numbers, say 20% of your total space in your house. That office makes up 20%. Well, you can write off 20% of that space, your interest, your wireless internet, your water, your power, all kinds of things. When you get to your car, again, the car or truck, that vehicle, if you're using it for your business, it should be a business vehicle, and you, as a benefit as the employee, get to drive said vehicle. Not, I own this vehicle. You need to let your business own the vehicle so that you can write it off on your taxes. Okay, so then your tires and gas and oil changes and maintenance and brakes and air filters and oil filters and fuel filters and insurance and payment and interest, all that now becomes a tax benefit. What this does is you're only taxed on what's left. So let's say out of that $100,000, you have paid all these expenses like you normally would. Now you only have $30,000 left, and that is what you are then taxed on income-wise. So instead of saying I made $100,000 and I'm now taxed on that full $100,000, this way you're taxed on just $30,000. You got to use that other $70,000 again to reduce your taxable income. And again, this goes into, if you donate to your church, for any nonprofit, those are all tax deductions. Okay. Also, if you give money to your kids, if you give your child $100 a month allowance, some people do that, you need to write that off on your taxes. That's $1,200 a year that you took out of your taxable income and you gifted it to your child. Now you can gift per parent, per grandparent, per child. I believe it's $14,000 per year per parent. So you could actually give your kid, and I'm not saying to do this, but you could actually give your kid $28,000 tax free. So not only do they get the money tax free, but then you as the parent, you just reduced your taxable income by $28,000. So instead, that's not what most people do. Most people pay the taxes on the $28,000, right? And then they pay the taxes on the $28,000, and then they give their kids what's left out of it. Instead, pay your kids $28,000 and write on a sheet of paper. Put the check that you wrote. Write your kid a check that I gave my kid $14,000 per parent, right? And write that off on your taxes. Now, some people think that I'm crazy or that I'm not telling the truth. Feel free to go right now, pause this video, and go over to Google and say, how much can I gift my child per year? Go ahead. Okay, welcome back. Did you do it? Did you Google it? Okay, so you can give money to your kids. All right, so as you talk to your tax person, I know I'm spending way too much time on this, but there are literally hundreds and hundreds of tax write-offs. If you will think, this is for my business first, and as a benefit of my business pays for my health insurance. My business pays for my car. My business gives me a housing allowance, right? That's the way you want to think of things when you run your business. Not me and my business are the same thing, even if they are. Even if you're basically using your business, if you're basically taking all the money that you get as a small business, which 80% of businesses are small business, and that they're commingling funds and doing all the things that small business do. You have a lawn business, or you're a painter or whatever, right? You clean houses, you have a sitting service, all those things, right, that we do. People will just stick stuff in their personal checking account and all that kind of stuff. That's not what we want to do, right? We want to make sure that you keep this money separate. use those as a tax benefit as much as you can, and you can write off. If you buy clothes specifically for your business, if you anything that can be written off, put it on your list and talk to your tax accountant about it and say, I want to write it off. Okay, and we can talk more about that at another date. Health insurance. I know a lot of guys are worried about their health insurance. I know my health insurance went up just a few years ago. My health insurance was $108. My insurance now is $550. And, of course, all my buckets of money for my copays are all higher, all those kind of things. And that's single with no kids. So I know several people that are paying $2,000 and $3,000 a month to keep their health insurance. So that is definitely a factor. And I mean, we're talking spending over $6,000 a year currently for health insurance, and that's if I don't go to the doctor. And as I'm getting older, I go to the doctor more often, right? So that's something to consider. Something else. Excuse me. By the way, these off brands, I don't know what the big deal about saving your ice is. My ice lasted for 24 hours. Like, I don't know how many people don't get up and get another drink in an hour, much less 24 hours. Anyway, second thing, big companies are gobbling up opportunities, okay? So as I'm training people, they're asking me, Matthew, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Well, you need to get busy quick, because just like we mentioned, all these baby boomers are moving and retiring. What are they doing now? They're taking their money out of Social Security, so they're now getting Social Security checks, and they're no longer putting money in to the 401ks. They've stopped putting into their 401k, and they're now pulling money out of the system. So that's less money in the system, okay? Well, what this means is mutual fund companies, that's what's made up of most of your 401k. Those are all mutual fund companies. Those guys are looking for cash flowing businesses, right? Where are we going to put our money? Because we have to make a return to give to our constituents, right? These guys that bought our stock, hey, we went public. Walmart's a public company. Walmart makes a profit, and out of their profit, they pay a dividend, whether it be in stocks or money, to the people that bought Walmart stock, right? You guys understand that? Okay, so they have to make a profit. Okay, so what happens is they're looking for anything that is safe, cash flowing business. Okay, here's some numbers for you. Half our country is not working. Half our country is on social services. Okay, and then a large portion of our employees, in fact, I would argue that if you looked in your state, the majority of employment was actually government work. So it was either county, city, government, or military, and those guys do not produce money. Okay, now a lot of people get upset about this, but that's just the truth. So if you have half the country not working, and then you have the biggest employers in each state are the government, local, city, government, and military, then they are actually getting all the tax money from people that are owning businesses. Okay, so we, the business owners, are the ones that pay the taxes. 48% of all the taxes in the country are paid by corporations. So I know people get on board and be like, oh, those evil corporations, but they pay nearly half of all the taxes in the country. So this is how our system is set up, and people that argue otherwise just don't know what they're talking about. Okay, so these businesses have to profit. What are they doing? They are actively finding cash flowing things. What are those? Assisted living, nursing home, adult daycare, medical. Remember, what did we say? We got a large portion, 10,000 baby boomers retiring every day, right? Those people are using those services. What else? Funeral homes. We have a large portion of the country that makes less than $25,000 a year. So what do they need? Low-income housing. There's not enough low-income housing in any county in the entire country. An article that I just posted a couple of days ago said so. So when they find those things, they're gobbling them up. So if you are looking around in your area, go find a trailer park. Now, I know you think, trailer parks. Trailer parks are cash cows. They make a lot of money. What else makes money? Self-storage. Self-storage makes a lot of money. Okay, so every time you see a billboard, you should say $6,000. Every time you see a self-storage, you think, well, that's self-storage, that's $70, and they have 500 units, and they're 95% full. Oh my gosh, they're making millions of dollars there, right? Look at a funeral home. I know a lot of people don't even think about funeral homes, but if you own a funeral home, every person is going to use your product eventually. Everybody dies. And it might sound a little morbid, but I guarantee you that in your neighborhood, wherever you are, if you will go and look, it will say, there'll be some funeral home that's been in business for the last 80 years. All your family members are buried there and everything, and you go look, it's the same company name, but I would be willing to bet you that there is a mutual fund company name underneath it. It might say, Johnson Family Cemetery, and then underneath it might say a Jones Brothers, company or whatever. And those are mutual fund companies. Those are these Reg Ds and other corporations that have come together to find cash flowing deals. Okay, so that's happening. Well, if they're gobbling all that up and they have large amounts of money to do so with, we as investors have to be that much smarter. And that's why I want to get down to this quick point here. All right. So number 3 is you need to be debt-free. So if you're not debt-free, you need to get there, because this is going to hinder your ability to invest. Okay, number 2, you need to invest in education. So people ask all the time, what do I need to be investing in? And I just mentioned a lot of different types of businesses. Each of those have their own nuances. And remember, I said if you're locked in to a 401k or 403b or any type of mutual fund where you've just checked, oh, I want moderate returns, or I want to be in a money market or a large growth, or a whatever, growth stock mutual fund, and you're locked in, and then you're not going to be able to see the rise and falls. You're not going to be able to move around and get your best returns. Okay, so that's going to come with education. Again, if I am keeping my eye on the ball and I see that real estate is the place to be, that's where I am. But what if in 2 years the market changes? I have to be able to change with it. Okay, and if you look at what's happening to Walmart right now. Walmart has been one of the most successful corporations in the country for the last 30, 40 years, right? Sam Walton's family. But Amazon has come along and is kicking their tail, okay? So Amazon changed technology, changed the way they do things, and now, I do too. I buy stuff on Amazon all the time, and it's very, very convenient, and it's going to continue to do so. All right. The last thing we have is we have lots of deals that need funding. So we have opportunities all over the place, from flips to self-storage to assisted living, nursing home. We have long-term rental income. We have a lot of things rolling. And if you want to be a part of those things, there's a couple of ways you can do it. One, you can be one of my mentor students. You can join the team. Again, that's on MorrowInvest.com. I'll have the link down here below. You can join the team, and we will actually be 50-50 partners in those deals, whether you bring money to the table or whether you're the one that finds the deal. We will get paid as a team that way. Number 2, if you just you don't know that you want to spend $2,000 and do that, but you do want to see the type deals we're doing, you can join up to our family forum, which is our kitchen table style discussions, where I post all the pictures and the different things that we're doing as an investment team to try to find new deals, how we're buying them, what we're doing with them, what our market research is, and we're putting all that out. That's in our family forum, and you can sign up for that as well. That's only $1 a day, so that's $30 a month. I think that is a great value. I wish that I had a platform like that, 15 years ago when I started all this. It would have been very, 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 very good for me. So, guys, I hope you're encouraged. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or comment. I hope you'll share the information, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.